Hello, thank you for joining our webinar today, whether you're live in person or in replay. Thank you. Today's webinar, all around Toast, enabling third-party data streams and integration. Before we jump into it, not only thank you to those that are watching live or watching in replay, thank you to all of our customers, partners, employees, advisors, and all those friends of Data Lakehouse. Thank you so much for your support, your commitment to the product, your feedback on the product to make it better for you, which in turn makes it better for everybody. Thank you. And for those of you that haven't had a chance to test out and use datalakehouse.io, we'd love to have you join in this awesome community of peoples. So in today's webinar, yes, we were talking about the infrastructure for distributed analytics. However, this is one of several in a series of Toast-related webinars. These are all available for replay on social media. You do not have to watch these in any sequential order. You don't have to watch all of these. You can pick and choose which one or ones that you want to check out. And of course, you don't have to sit through all of them to watch it in real time. What you could do is fast forward these to go fast, turn on subtitles, for however you want to view your webinar. So lots of different ways to get information here. But again, today's webinar and replay is a standalone that you can watch onto itself. I'm Mike John, one of the co-founders at datalakehouse.io. I've been in the data analytics space for about 20 years, really helping organizations, centralize their data, display their data on a dashboard and a report, but more importantly, and the most important part, is to deliver that business value. What is the purpose? How are we improving the organization, whether that's getting to know your customers better, understanding their buying behaviors, looking at operational efficiencies, reducing operating costs, whether that's through employees, whether that's through food products, so you cut down on waste, and then maximizing that customer and local community engagement without having to sacrifice profit margin for those loyal customers. In today's world, we understand your journey might be fairly similar to what we see here. You have lots of data and lots of different locations. Naturally, there's a number of different applications that your organization is using. Yes, and Toast is one of those that's near and dear to you, but you're going to have others. There's going to be marketing applications. You may have payroll. You could even have separate order management applications. And some of these are third party. You subscribe to, you put the order in, or you put the order in, then you get invoicing information. And depending upon the size of your restaurant group, there could be few systems. There could be many systems if you're a much larger operator. And naturally, some of these applications that you have, they do share data amongst each other, and some do not share. Or perhaps what we see most often is the data that is shared, it's shared a little bit. You'd love to be able to get more information, get some of those details to better understand, from an individual recipe. Yes, what are the ingredients, but what is the real cost and margin, on that individual, menu item when you get into understanding, well, what's the construct of the recipe itself. So very important, lots of different insight, and it's really all about getting the information that how you want to understand and measure your restaurant was individual location, a group of locations, maybe their individual brands that you're looking at, and you want to aggregate that up. You want to be able to zero in on the important metrics that are important to you. And so that is the ultimate challenge. But then once you get beyond those KPIs, you're also going to have natural curiosity. Like, tell me things I don't know. Tell me things that are going well. Tell me things that are not going well, because I'd like to be able to understand Are they not going well? And is that something in my control, or is it something completely out of my control that I just do not have the ability to influence? So you have all this data. You're trying to make sense of this data, but you need a mechanism in order to really go out to those different applications, pull that data in, and then centralize that into a single source of truth. And that single source of truth is where the magic happens. But that facility or that vehicle, that's where datalakehouse.io comes in and goes out and gets all that data and then centralizes it for you so that you can start interrogating and asking the data questions, whether that's through pre-built dashboards, even through AI chat. I want to chat with the data. I want to ask questions about my data. In more than just what were my sales yesterday? What was my revenue? What's my gross profit? How many people were working? Ask inquisitive questions around finding patterns and things that you might not necessarily need a dashboard around. It could be just, hey, I thought of this particular insight. I'm wondering how my data or my restaurant measures up to that. And especially when you think of, each restaurant is a near and dear member to the local community, and the local community is your partners. Those customers that are coming in, they're local. Obviously, you are local. You may literally live in that particular neighborhood or that city, and you care about that city. You want to be a meaningful contributing member, not just by providing an awesome meal replenishment or a tasty treat. You want to make sure that they have a wonderful dining experience. You want to be able to show and give back to the local community, whether that's through a sports team, schools, other groups that are important in that area. How do you foster that relationship? But then also, how do you measure the impact of that relationship? Yes, there's things that you should do. I should give back. Well, I should give back should also, what is my impact? That impact is, how am I helping the community? And then the secondary impact is it helping, and how is that helping my restaurant or restaurants in order to generate that stickiness or that retention for those customers? Yes, you can go ahead and come up with creative, one-time coupons or Groupons to get people into your location with an amazing deal. And yes, there is a necessary time that you're going to do that, especially when you open up a location or you're trying to pivot or change a major aspect to how you operate that individual location. You want to be able to pivot and get people excited up front, but you don't want to necessarily make that a customer, because in regards to that customer being only loyal to that individual offering, well, great. That loyalty is not to you and the dining experience. It's not to the local community. It's just to that individual, perhaps one-time offer. And it's great. You got them in there. Maybe they spent a little bit extra, but most likely you had to obtain that customer at very low to no margin in hopes that they will revisit and purchase items at full cost. Well, obviously, if they're only loyal to the offering, then they will not be long-term customers. You're missing out on an opportunity there. When you think of Toast, restaurant operators like yourself, you have a management team, individual restaurant managers themselves, they are wonderful customer-facing individuals. They have the years of experience. They have the tact and tenacity to work on and to have great people relationships and to foster that. And a lot of times, yes, you see loyalty from employees, from vendors, from customers because of a certain restaurant manager, a restaurant operator that people really, really love and are excited to see it on a regular basis. That's great. That's awesome. You want that people connection, but at the same time, on the back end, Toast is that key vehicle to be able to manage and run a lot of the operations within that individual restaurant. So toast, while it is behind the scenes, is a very, very necessary and important part of that overall dining experience, even if the customer doesn't see that and interact with toast. Perhaps they are doing a table side transaction, let's say a credit card, and there is a toast handheld that they are swiping their credit card and they see, oh, yes, this is toast. Great. That might be the only time that they see toast. Otherwise, the rest of the time is their server, is that the manager, that greeter, the person that's doing that high touch care and feeding to enrich that overall dining experience. And yes, you have your front of house, back of house folks. Think of the back of house. All right, great. They are preparing a wonderful meal. They're cooking it just the exact way that the customer has asked for and the customer expects from a repeatable menu item that they've ordered many times in the past and others order, so you have that consistency. Everybody plays a very important part within that overall dining experience, even if they don't physically interact with that end diner. But there's data behind the scenes that is able to be mined and leveraged in order to enrich and enhance that overall dining experience by making changes to how customers are interacted with. How are you identifying those customers there for the first time? How are you identifying those customers that are there the second time, the third time, and the fourth time? Because we know that by the time that an individual or a group of individuals, by the time they have their fourth dining experience with you, they are hooked. There's a 70% chance that they are hooked for life because of that overall positive dining experience. But how are you working that individual from dining experience 1 through 4 and knowing where they are in between? And that's where we're going to leverage, and that's where how you can leverage data in order to help identify and tell that story. There is a lot of data within Toast, and it's great. There's a treasure trove of data within Toast. However, a lot of that data is inputted, and you look at some built-in metrics, and you say, okay, great. But you understand that's not the only data that you have out there. That's the only way that you're leveraging data in order to manage your operations. You may have marketing where you're buying ads on social media and trying to educate that brand awareness. You may have an offering that is out there to get people into a location, whether that's from a seasonal, you've gone from dirt to balloons. Yay, we're open for business. Great. How are you creating that awareness along the way of, all right, we're in the dirt phase, for example, we're clearing the land. We know where we're going to be putting up a location and it'll be open in 6 months. Well, get people interested and excited and educated about what's coming. Get them to know you and your brand prior to the balloons where doors are open. You've gone beyond that soft opening where you're ready for business. And you are curating those touch points, but you're doing that through ads and through social media posts in order to you want to understand what is that impact and how does that help drive foot traffic, and how do you know when it's driven foot traffic? There's data there that can help you understand that journey, but that data is not within Toast. So now we have the challenge of multiple sources and Toast reporting onto itself. That information that's great at the corporate level, maybe the restaurant operations. There's several people in restaurant operations, but after that Toast data doesn't really go anywhere. People don't know, or they might not even care. An individual server might not care about, well, what's in Toast other than that individuals, here were your orders, your totals, your tip amount there. So there's some tracking, which is interesting, but it's not going to help that individual server improve or understand what is that customer's potential experience or maybe not experience with your restaurant because it's their first time coming in. Boy, if you were a server and you knew that, how you would treat them differently because of that, just knowing we want to get them from first dining experience to second. and then eventually second to third, third to fourth. And then from there, once all right, this person's been here 4+ times. Awesome. How do we treat and interact with them in a slightly different manner? But at the same time, you want to make sure that dining experience is always very positive, highly engaging, and very tasty. So we think of this Toast data. The data lives in Toast, taking that data and pushing that data on a frequent basis, once a day, multiple times throughout the day, and centralizing that data into your cloud data warehouse, such as Snowflake. And from there, you can build out your different reporting and your analytics, and you can even take data from Snowflake that you've enriched, perhaps things from a marketing perspective, and push that data back into Toast as well, if that makes sense. However, you may say, well, all right, I just want to centralize that data. I've centralized it in Snowflake, and now I'm ready for my analytics and my AI that's going to interact, and I can ask questions. I can see what my KPIs are, what are important to me, not what are defaulted into Toast or defaulted into some other application such as MarketMan or Restaurant 365. What is important to me and my brand and how I want to run and operate. You also will have potentially other third-party payroll, whether that's through Paychex, through ADP, especially if you're a larger restaurant group. And then you have other partners. All right, you getting data from MarketMan, for example, or Cisco, and great. Yes, I have all this data, but I need to go get that data because it's not in Toast, it's not in anywhere else. I just need to get that data in Snowflake to centralize it. Or for larger restaurant groups, you may have dozens or hundreds of restaurant locations that you have data, and you have very complex IT processes behind the scenes in order to make your operations extremely efficient. So that's where leveraging SFTP as a way to get data out. All right, I centralized the data, I've enriched the data, but now I want to push that into another application. SFTP be your friend. So when you think of, all right, I've got Toast. I also have many other data sources. Talked about social media. We may have Excel files of data, whether that's from a third-party vendor, something that you or your finance analyst has pulled together. You have a CRM such as Salesforce that you are managing, perhaps franchisee communications, interactions, and doing reach outs to say who are potential folks to expand within a particular region of the country, or perhaps it's a west of the Mississippi expansion or east of the Mississippi expansion, whatever it happens to be, and where your data is. Taking that data, consolidating it into a centralized location, the cloud data warehouse, and then making it available to the various ways to look at, report on, and analyze your data. And Data Lakehouse being that engine to help with that consolidation and with that reporting. So it's very easy to get up and running on Data Lakehouse, connect to Toast, connect to Snowflake, and off you go, synchronizing your data. And then you can just build your analytics and AI from there. We appreciate you watching this live or on replay. If there's anything that we can do to help you out on your data journey, questions that you have, because we understand it's all about you and what your restaurant group wants to do, or maybe some challenges that you're having, and how we can bring efficiencies and insight to the table. So feel free to reach out to us directly, and we'd love to talk with you. Thank you. Have a good one.